Hey guys, this is Miss Hardison. Today we are going to be starting topic 22. This is one-step equations. Anytime you're doing one-step equations or any equations, you're always going to use the inverse operation. Okay, make sure that you are getting all of these notes. I will be checking them when I return tomorrow, and you will be getting a grade for having all of the notes completed. So this is just using one-step equations. This should be a little bit of a review for you guys. We're going to start off with adding and subtracting. Okay, number 1, we are going to have x minus 5 equals negative 1. Okay, one of the main things that you are going to need to do when starting equations and when it starts to become larger equations is that you're going to have to be neat. So you're going to have to keep things in line going straight down the page. So what I like to do is just draw a line going down the equal sign. So that means that that equal sign is going to end up in the same spot. Okay? So when I solve this problem, I have to isolate the variable, meaning I have to get everything away from the variable. So I'm going to move this 5 to the other side. In order to do that, you have to use the inverse operation. So instead of subtracting 5, I'm going to do the inverse or the opposite of that, and I'm going to add 5. Whatever you do to one side, you do to the other side. I'm going to draw my line to show that I'm doing math. Negative 5 plus 5 is 0, so it just cancels out, becomes 0. I don't need to write plus 0 because that's not going to change the problem. I need to drop down the x, so I'm going to bring it down, equals, and then I have negative 1 plus 5. We're adding, but they don't have the same sign, so that's going to be subtracting. 5 minus 1 is 4, and 5 has the larger absolute value, so it stays positive. Now we can check this to make sure it's right. Okay, so we're going to use the equation x minus 5 equals negative 1, and we have that x is 4. So I'm going to say 4 minus 5. We're checking to see if it works. 4 minus 5. So you would do keep, change, change. So it would be 4 plus negative 5, and that is negative 1 because you subtract. And 5 has the larger absolute value. So that does work. Okay, so if you're ever in doubt, you can check it and make sure. Okay, number 2. A minus 2 equals 13. So go ahead and draw your line so that your equal sign stays in the same spot. Pause the video and complete the problem. Okay, so subtracting 2, the inverse or the opposite of subtracting 2 is adding 2. You got to add 2 to both sides. Negative 2 plus 2 is 0, so it just cancels out. You're going to bring down your a. So a equals 13 plus 2 is 15. So a equals 15. We're going to check that to make sure that it is correct. We're going to say a minus 2 equals 13. For a, we found that it equaled 15, so 15 minus 2 does equal 13, so it is correct. Number 3. A plus 4 equals negative 10. Draw your line so that your equal sign stays straight in that line so we can keep things organized. The inverse of adding 4 is going to be, and remember the inverse means opposite, so that's going to be subtracting 4. You've got to subtract 4 on both sides. Positive 4 minus 4 is 0. Our goal is to cancel that out by doing the inverse operation. You're going to bring down your A. So A equals, then we have negative 10 minus 4. So that would be negative 10 minus 4. Keep, change. So it's negative 10 plus negative 4. They have the same sign, so you add and keep that sign. So negative 10 plus 4, or plus negative 4 is 14, and keep the sign. So it's negative 14. We're going to check it. So we have A plus 4 equals negative 10. Negative 14 plus 4 equals negative 10. Adding, not the same sign, so you subtract. 14 minus 4 is 10, and 14 has a larger absolute value, so that is correct. Number 4. Z plus 3 equals negative 14. Draw your line to keep everything straight. Go ahead and pause the video and complete the problem. Okay, inverse operation of plus 3 is to subtract 3. Remember, you need to do this on both sides. We're going to draw our line so we can show our math. 3 minus 3 is 0, so we show that it canceled out. Drop down your Z, your variable, equals, keep it in line, negative 14 minus 3. I'm going to come over here and show that. Negative 14 minus 3. Know when you're subtracting that you have to do keep, change. So it's negative 14 plus negative 3. Adding with the same sign, so you add and keep the sign. So 14 plus 3 is 17, and you keep the sign negative. You can check it. Z plus 3 equals negative 14. It's going to be negative 17 plus 3. They do not have the same sign, so you subtract it. 17 minus 3 is 14, and 17 has a larger absolute value, so it does work. Alright, number 5. So those are some with just integers. We're going to add some rational numbers, some decimals and fractions into them. W plus 3.2 equals 10.4. Okay, this is a one-step equation. It does have decimals in it. You're still going to do the inverse operation. You're still going to draw your line to keep things neat and organized. So instead of adding 3.2, you're going to do the inverse operation, which is subtract. So minus 3.2 on both sides. Remember that when you are subtracting decimals, your decimals have to be lined up. So when I write this, I'm going to make sure that the decimals are lined up. Draw my line. 3.2 minus 3.2 is 0. It cancels out, so I'm going to draw my line. I'm going to drop down my W. So W equals, now I got to subtract this. 4 minus 2 is 2. Bring down your decimal. 10 minus 3 is 7. So it should be W equals 7.2. We can check this one also. So instead of W plus 3.2, it's going to be 7.2 plus 3.2. You can write it this way to do the math. 7.2 plus 3.2. Drop down your decimal because we keep them lined up. 2 plus 2 is 4. 7 plus 3 is 10. So it equals 10.4. That is what we got right here. So our 7.2 worked. All right, I'm flipping my page over. Okay, number 6. Z plus 3 over 2 equals 1/2. Okay. Adding, we need to do the inverse of adding. So the inverse of adding 3 over 2 is to subtract 3 over 2. I'm going to draw my line to show my math. 3 over 2 minus 3 over 2 is 0. So that's going to cancel out. Bring down your z. Equals. So we have 1/2 minus 3/2. 1/2 minus 3/2. You need to do keep, change, change. So it's 1/2 plus negative 3/2. Adding, but they're not the same sign, so you actually subtract. So we're going to have 3 over 2 minus 1 over 2. 3 minus 1 is 2, and you keep your denominator. And then which one has a larger absolute value? That would be the negative one. So it's negative 2 over 2, which equals negative 1. All right, number 7. Okay, you are going to be given 3 problems. I'm going to give you 7, 8, and 9, and I'd like for you to complete them. Pause the video, then complete them, and we'll come back and check our answers. So number 7 is C minus 12 equals negative 4. Number 8, K plus 8.4 equals negative 6.3. And number 9 is negative 2/3 equals W minus 7/3. Okay, I want you to complete these 3 and we will come back and talk about them. So go ahead and pause your screen. Alright, so you should do the inverse of subtracting 12, which is adding 12. You do that on both sides. Negative 12 plus 12 is 0. So you cancel that out. Bring down your C. So you have C equals negative 4 plus 12. They're not like signs. So you subtract. 12 minus 4 is 8. And then 12 has a larger absolute value, so it is positive 8. All right, number 8. You are adding 8.4, so you do the inverse, which is subtract 8.4. Draw your line to show you're doing math. Positive 8.4 minus 8.4 is 0, so we're just going to cross it out. Bring down your variable, K. Keep your equal sign in line. So we have negative 6.3 minus 8.4. You're going to do keep, change, change because it's subtracting. So it's negative 6.3 plus negative 8.4. So that means we're going to add them. 4 plus 3 is 7. Bring down your decimal. 8 plus 6 is 14. And you keep the sign. Add and keep the sign. So it is negative 14.7. All right, number 9. It looked different because the variable is on the right-hand side instead of the left, but it is still the exact same process. You're going to move everything away from the variable. So since it's on this side, we're going to move it to the other side. So instead of subtracting 7 over 3, we're going to add 7 over 3. And again, it doesn't matter which side the variable's on. Typically, you see it on the left-hand side. But if it is on the right, you're still going to do the math the same way. Negative 7 over 3 plus 7 over 3 cancels out. Bring down your W. Keep your equal sign in line. And then we have negative 2 over 3 plus 7 over 3. Adding, they don't have like signs, so you're going to subtract. So we have 3 is the denominator, and 7 minus 2 is 5. The 7 has a larger absolute value, so it stays positive 5 over 3. All right, number 10. Are these equations equivalent? And equivalent is just a really mathy word for are they equal? And then you need to explain what makes them equivalent. So you have m plus 3 equals negative 5. And then you have m minus 4 equals negative 12. Okay, so we're going to solve both of these. So go ahead and pause your video and solve both of them. Okay, so instead of adding 3, the inverse is subtracting 3, and you subtract 3 on both sides. Positive 3 minus 3 is 0. Bring down your m. So m equals negative 5 minus 3. That's negative 5 plus negative 3 if you do keep, change. Add and keep the sign, so it's negative 8. Okay, on the other one, instead of subtracting 4, you're going to add 4. Negative 4 plus 4 cancels out, it makes a 0. Bring down your m equals, so negative 12 plus 4, adding, but they're not like signs, so you actually subtract. 12 minus 4 is 8, and then 12 has a larger absolute value, so it is negative 8. It says, are these equations equivalent? Explain. So yes, they are equivalent, and they're equivalent because they both equal negative 8. Yes, comma, both have a solution of negative 8. Period. Okay, I'm going on to the next page. Remember, you can pause it at any time if I'm going too fast for you. Okay, so our directions for this next part is write as an equation, then solve. Okay, so number 11, it says 4 less than a number. They're going to call that number n, is negative 15. Okay, so we have some important things here. So 4 less than a number n is negative 15. So the words less than mean that you need to subtract. So you're going to be looking at words and trying to decide what operation. You're going to subtract, and it's going to be less than the number n. So we don't know what that number is, but it's going to be n is less than, so subtract 4, equals, and the word is means equals negative 15. Okay, we're going to solve that equation. The inverse of subtracting 4 is adding 4. Draw your line to show your math. Negative 4 plus 4 cancels out, it equals 0. Drop down your n, keep your equal sign in line. So negative 15 plus 4, not like signs, so you subtract. 15 minus 4 is 11, and then 15 has a larger absolute value, so it's negative 11. Number 12. 10 more than a number c is 3. So 10, the word more than a number c is 3. So these are the words, the key words that are helping us decide what this equation is. So the words more than is going to tell us that we need to add 10 more than a number c. So it is c plus 10. 10 more than c is, so equals 3. And you're going to solve it. Draw your line to keep it nice and neat. The inverse of plus 10 is minus 10. 10 minus 10 is 0. It cancels out. Drop down your c, equals 3 minus 10. That's keep, change, change. So it's 3 plus negative 10. They're adding, but they're not the same sign, so you subtract. So 10 minus 3 is 7. And then negative, the 10 has a larger absolute value, so it is negative 7. Okay, 13. The difference of a number p and 6 is 14. Okay, the word difference is important. It says of a number p and 6 is still means equal 14. So difference, the word difference means that you need to subtract. Okay, when you write this, the difference of a number p and 6. So we're going to say p minus 6 is, so equals 14. The inverse of subtracting 6 is to add 6. Draw your line. Okay, negative 6 plus 6 is 0. Bring down your p, equals 14 plus 6 is 20. Number 14. The sum of a number y and negative 3 is negative 8. Okay, the word sum is important, of a number y and negative 3 is negative 8. Is means equals. Sum tells you that you need to add. So the sum of a number y and negative 3. So it is y plus negative 3 equals negative 8. Draw your line. Okay, so we're going to, instead of it being a negative 3, we're going to make it a positive 3, because a negative 3 and a positive 3 equals 0. Remember, whatever you do to one side, you have to do to the other side. Bring down your y. Negative 8 plus 3, not like signs, so you subtract. 8 minus 3 is 5, and 8 has a larger absolute value, so it is negative. Okay, now we are going to start multiplying and dividing. So on the back of that one, I'm going to start multiply and divide. And this is still one step. Multiply and divide. We're going to start over. This is still using inverse operation. Number 1, we have 18 equals negative 4y. Okay, this is a one-step equation. The negative 4 and the y are multiplying, so the inverse of multiplying by negative 4 is to divide by negative 4. You're going to divide by negative 4 on both sides. Draw my line. Negative 4 divided by negative 4 equals 1. So that equals 1y. And then we have 18 divided by negative 4. So I'm going to go over here and I'm going to actually divide that out. 18 into 4. 4 won't go into 1 because remember, whatever is listed up top or listed first goes inside the box. 18 won't go into 1, but it'll go in, 4 won't go into 1, but it'll go into 18 4 times. 4 times 4 is 16. You subtract them, that's a 2. 4 won't go into 2, so we got to put a placeholder here. 4 will go into 20 5 times. 4 times 5 is 20. And it's a positive divided by a negative, so our answer is negative 4.5. Now, this is not the most mathy way to write this because it has the 1 with it. So what I would like to get you to do in future problems is that when you are canceling these out, it's a 1. There's always an understood 1 in front of your variable if nothing is there. So we're just going to cancel it out because it's always there. So instead here, we would have wrote y equals negative 4.5. So when it cancels out and equals just 1, we can just go ahead and draw that line through it because it doesn't change the problem. Okay? Number 2. X over 3 equals negative 6. Okay, x over 3. A fraction is division. So instead of dividing by 3, the inverse is to multiply by 3. So that would be like saying 3 over 1 times 1 over 3. Now, you don't have to do that math, but it equals 1. So dividing by 3 and multiplying by 3 cancel out, and you're just left with x equals, draw our line here, we're going to multiply by 3 on this side also, so it equals 6 times 3 is negative 18. Negative times a positive is a negative. All right, number 3. We have x divided by 5 equals 4. So draw your line. Okay, the inverse of dividing by 5 is to multiply by 5. Dividing by 5 and multiplying by 5 equals 1. Drop down your x equals 4 times 5 is 20. So remember, you're always doing, when you're solving equations, no matter how many steps it is, you're always doing inverse operation. Number 4, negative 3y equals negative 12. Negative 3 and y are multiplying. So you do the inverse operation and see what you get. Go ahead and pause the screen. Okay, they are multiplying, so the inverse is to divide by negative 3. That's 1, so it's going to cancel out. You have y equals a negative divided by a negative is a positive, and then 12 divided by 3 is 4. Make sure you're drawing your line to keep things nice and organized so you don't miss things somewhere. Alright, so now with 5 through 8, we're going to solve using reciprocals. We've talked about that word before. It is just the flip of a fraction. R-E-C-I-P-R-O-C-A-L-S, reciprocals. Solve using reciprocals. Go ahead and underline it in star so that when you need to come back to it to use your notes to study, you'll see it. Okay, number 5. It says negative 4/5 x equals negative 8. Now, I went ahead and skipped over a little bit because I already know what I'm going to have to do on this one. Okay, so using the reciprocal, so we're going to make that 1, we're going to make it cancel out or make a 1 by flipping it. So we're going to, instead of multiplying by 4 over 5, we're going to multiply by negative 5 over 4. 5 times 4 is 20. 4 times 5 is 20. So 20 over 20 is 1. And it is a negative times a negative, so that makes it a positive. But remember, whatever you do to one side, you also have to do this side. So we're going to multiply that side by negative 5 over 4. You have x equals, okay, if I'm going to do this, it's going to be 8 over 1 times negative 5 over 4. 8 times 5 is 40, and it's a positive times a negative. So it's negative, and then 1 times 4 is 4. Now we can simplify this. Negative 40 divided by 4 is negative 10. So x, oh, that was a negative also. So it is positive 10. Okay, number 6. We have negative 6 equals 3 over 2z. Alright, to make this cancel out, you have to multiply by the reciprocal. So the reciprocal, or the flip, of 3 over 2 is 2 over 3. Let me show you why this works. I'm just going to come right here, and I'm going to say 3 over 2 times 2 over 3. 3 times 2 is 6, 2 times 3 is 6, and 6 over 6 is 1. So that means that it's just going to be 1z, or the understood 1. Whatever you do to one side, you also have to do to this side. So I'm going to multiply that I'm going to come over here and do the math. 2/3 times -6 over 1. Make sure that we put that in parentheses so we don't get those confused. Maybe that'll help some. So 2 times 6 is 12. 3 times 1 is 4, and it's a positive times a negative, so it is a negative. And then 12 divided by 4 is -3. Oops, that's a 3. Sorry, guys. 3 times 1 is 3. 12 divided by 3 is -4. This should be -4. Sorry about that. All right, I am going to give you 2 to work on. All right, so I'm going to flip the page over. Okay, I'm going to give you number 7 and number 8. Number 7 is 3/8 h equals -9. Draw your line. And number 8 is -8/5 b equals 5. So we're multiplying by the reciprocal to solve this. Okay, go ahead and pause your video and complete it. Okay, 3/8 h. The inverse of multiplying by a fraction is to multiply by the reciprocal. So we're going to multiply by 8/3. That makes it become the understood 1. Whatever you do to one side, you have to do to the other side. That's 24/24, which is just 1. So I can cancel it out and drop down my h equals. Now I need to do some math, so I have 9/1 times 8/3. 9 times 8 is 72/3. And it's a positive times a negative, so that is -72/3. Now that can be simplified, and we're going to simplify it by dividing. Whatever number is listed first goes inside the box. 3 goes outside. 3 will go into 7 2 times. So 1. Bring down your 2. 3 will go into 12 4 times. And it's a negative divided by a positive, so it is -24. All right, number 8, multiplying by the reciprocal. So that's going to be -5/8. We don't change our sign, we just change the operation. We flip it. 5 times 8 is 40. 8 times 5 is 40, and it's a negative times a negative. So that becomes the understood 1. So we have B equals, I'm going to do this math, it's 5/1 times -5/8. 5 times 5 is -25, and 8 times 1 is 8. So we can just leave it like that because it cannot be simplified. You could have turned it into an improper fraction, but we don't need to do that right now. All right, number 9. I'm going to give you these 3 and you complete them. So number 9 is 6D equals 24. Number 10 is T divided by 3 equals -4. And number 11 is -2/5 P equals -6. You pause the video and do these 3. Okay. Instead of multiplying by 6, you're going to do the inverse, which is to divide by 6. 6 divided by 6 is 1, so we cancel that out. And we're left with D equals 24 divided by 6 is 4. Okay, number 10, it's T divided by 3. The inverse of dividing by 3 is to multiply by 3. 3 over 3 is 1. So you're left with T equals negative times a positive is a negative, and 4 times 3 is 12. Okay, and then this one, you're multiplying by a fraction, so we're going to multiply by the reciprocal. So times 5 over 2 on both sides, and it's negative 5 over 2. That equals 1 because it's 10 over 10, which equals 1. So I have P equals negative 6 over 1 times negative 5 over 2. Negative times a negative is a positive. 6 times 5 is 30. 2 times 1 is 2. And then 30 divided by 2 is 15. So P equals 15. All right, so now I want you to just describe using words the inverse operation. So describe the inverse operation. Okay, so number 12. Subtracting What is the inverse of subtracting 12? The inverse of subtracting is to add and then 12. 13. Adding negative 6. The inverse of adding is to subtract negative 6. Okay, multiplying by negative 1/8. Okay, the inverse of multiplying is to divide, but then when you're dividing by a fraction, you do keep, change, flip. So you're going to multiply by negative 8 over 1. Okay, so you multiply by the reciprocal. Okay, we're going to do a couple where we have the word problem and you create the equation and solve it. Okay, so we're not just describing the inverse operation, we're actually going to create the equation and solve it. So number 15 is a number divided by negative 9 is negative 16. So a number divided by negative 9 is negative 16. So we'll just use n. A number divided by negative 9 is negative 16. A number divided by negative 9, remember a fraction is division, equals negative 16. So to solve this, you're going to be doing the inverse of dividing by negative 9, which is to multiply by negative 9. You're left with n equals, so 16 times 9. 9 times 6 is 54. Carry your 5. 9 times 1 is 9. Plus 5 is 14. A negative times a negative is a positive. So it's 144. All right, two more. Number 16. It says a number multiplied by 2/5 is 3/20. Okay, so a number multiplied is. So multiplying a number in times 2/5 is 3/20. So we're going to multiply by the reciprocal here. So instead of 2/5, it will be 5/2. That makes a 1. So we have n equals 5/2. 3 times 5 is 15. 20 times 2 is 40. And we know 5 will go into both of those. So to simplify it, we're going to divide by 5. That is 3/8. And then the last one, number 17. The product of a number and negative 1.5 is 21. Is means equal. The product means that you're going to multiply. Okay, so you're going to multiply a number and negative 1.5. So we're going to have negative 1.5 times a number, we're just going to pick n, equals 21. The inverse of multiplying is to divide. That makes 1. So n equals, you have to come over here and do the math, 21, because inside the box, because it's listed first. Okay, you cannot have a decimal on the outside, so you got to move it once. Whatever you do on the outside, you got to do on the inside. Placeholder. 15 will go into 21 one time. When you subtract that, you get a 6. 15 won't go into 6, but it'll go into 60 4 times. 15 times 4 is 60. So n equals, it's a positive divided by a negative, so it is negative 14. All right, we did go through that fast. Please make sure that you have all of these notes, and I will be checking it tomorrow, so make sure you have all of these notes. Bye, guys.